Hi, everybody. I am Kelly Gunter, and I am so excited to be here with you tonight for this topic that your admins have picked. It is one that is very special and important to my life. It is a topic that I embrace passionately. In fact, I have dedicated my social media to it for the last 13 days straight, and that topic is self-love. Self-love is such a critical piece of the puzzle that creates the picture that is our life. And sadly, it is probably the piece that we focus on the least and the one that we need to focus on the most. So before we jump in and before we start with all the talk about self-love, I want to say a little bit about me. I know that probably most of you have no idea who I am. I'm a fellow bariatric patient. In 2002, I weighed 391 pounds, and I had been morbidly obese for about 15 years at that point. I made the decision to have bariatric surgery, and I chose the BPD, also known as the switch. I did that, and 13 months later, I had lost 243 pounds. I have maintained that loss for 16 years now. And in October of this year, my memoir, You Have Such a Pretty Face, was actually published. And I want to mention this because this book is not about how to lose weight. This book is not how to maintain weight like I did, the weight loss. It's all about the emotional journey that we walk through as we try to develop our own self-esteem and our own self-worth. In my journey, I had none. I didn't have any self-esteem. I absolutely had no self-love. And my story focuses on the healing that was involved for me to eventually find my self-worth and also begin to like myself slowly and then be able to learn to love myself. So let's really dive into self-love and what it's really all about. People say to me all the time, Kelly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I love myself. I'm a good person. I love God. I love my family. I love my spouse. I love my kids. I love my dogs. It doesn't matter if I don't love myself. I'm okay with not loving myself. I don't have to put myself first. And really, there couldn't be an attitude or a statement that I disagree with more strongly than that one. And here's why. When we don't have self-love and we don't have any self-worth, we are starving our heart and our soul from what they need the most. And that particular kind of love is something no one else can give us. So what do we know about starved people? Starved people are going to eat, and they're going to eat whatever anybody gives them. So we're starving. We want love, we want affection, and we reach for it in people and places that are not going to give it to us. Now, not everyone in our life is going to feed us a bunch of bull, but sadly, there are so many people who do. And when we feel less than, and when we don't have that self-love, we are so at risk for those kind of people who can take advantage of us. So we're starving, we're ravenous, and we just want that love and that acceptance. So we start taking what people are feeding us. And what are those kind of people feeding us? They're feeding us lies. They're feeding us BS. They're feeding us disrespect. They're feeding us manipulation. They're feeding us all kinds of BS. And what are we doing? We're taking it in. We're like, girl, that's good. That's good. We're trying to convince ourselves that's good. That's what I want. When it isn't good. What it is a bunch of bullshit. It doesn't taste good. It doesn't feel good. And every single one of us deserves something better than that. But that's what happens. We are like a bottomless pit when we don't have any self-worth and when we haven't found a way to love ourselves. And we look to everybody else in our lives to fill that bottomless pit. We have this void that we just can't fill. And we try to, no matter what anybody else dumps in, It doesn't fill us up. It's never enough. It doesn't do anything for us. And even the people who are good to us, even the people who truly love us and want the best for us, they can never fill that bottomless void that we have, because there's only one thing that fills it up. How do you stop? How do you fix a bottomless pit? I'm going to tell you how you fix it. You have to develop a foundation. And what is that foundation rooted in? It starts with finding your self-worth. That's where it all begins. But when we're doing that, when we still are that bottomless pit and people are giving us half-truths, we see their behaviors, we see their actions, we hear the things they say, and somewhere in the back of our mind, we know this is a major red flag. This is probably not anything that's good for me, and this is not the type of situation I want to deal with in my life. This could be coming from friends, from family, from lovers, from spouses, from coworkers. But what do? We don't have the skills. We don't have the self-worth all built up to say, this isn't appropriate for my life. And trust me when I tell you, I know all about that. The unthinkable was the thinkable in my life on an everyday basis. The inappropriate was appropriate in my world. I took it all in. And you know what I did with it? People treated me less than. People gave me a bunch of crap in my life. And because I didn't think I deserved anything better, I took it all and I said to myself, something doesn't seem right about this. But for right now, I'm going to put it up here on this shelf that I like to call the shelf of denial. Denial is the shock absorber for the soul. It provides a buffer for us until our soul is ready to deal with what we can't deal with at the time. So we have all these things on the shelf of denial in our life that we think, I'll deal with that when I'm ready. One day I'll deal with that, but then we never do, because we're so accustomed to accepting less than that that's what we do. I know in my life, my shelf of self-denial was so big. My world was littered with shelves. They were so full of denial. So what do you do with that? How do you begin to realize I'm accepting things that I shouldn't? The really sad thing is that all those years of my life that I accepted disrespect from people, that I didn't think I deserved any better, life just kept moving forward. I can't get that time back. That's one thing we can't get back, is time that we spent allowing people to mistreat us, allowing ourselves to expect less than we're worth, and we can't get that back. So life continues to progress while we're stuck. I was at a store the other day and look what I found. I found a sign that says, life is now in session. I was so excited about this. I was like, oh, I have to have that, because it's true. We can't wait to live our life until everything is perfect. We have to learn to find our worth and our joy right now as it is today. The women in that store, the clerks, were like, settle down, lady, because I was so excited about it, because I think it so perfectly illustrates the fact that we have to work on finding it today. We can wait. We can say, I'm going to be happy once I lose this weight. I thought that. I lost 243 pounds. So then I thought, I'll be happy once I have all the plastic surgery and have my skin removed. And so I did all of that. I had all of my skin removed. Guess what? I still wasn't happy. I was a bottomless pit, and I kept delaying my happiness. I kept expecting to all of a sudden develop self-worth based on something like my appearance, my size, all the things that really don't matter. But I had a lifetime of thinking I was less than and of not having that self-worth. So I had myself, in a very, very hurtful, traumatic time in my life. I made terrible decisions because I felt less than. And that's what we do. We settle, we make terrible decisions, and then we beat the crap out of ourselves for making those decisions. So how do we begin to turn it all around? What I want you to get is you can start to turn it all around today. You don't have to wait to get to a certain weight. You don't have to wait until you have your surgery. It can begin today. And the first thing you have to do to get there is make the decision, today I choose me. That doesn't fix everything, but it's an incredibly powerful decision for people who've had little to no control over anything in their lives and who have felt very less than. Making the decision, today I'm going to begin to learn to like myself. And you may think, how the Sam hell am I going to do that? I thought the same thing. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I had no idea. But you begin with the tiniest of steps. And I'm telling you, you need to stand up to yourself. You need to say, today I claim the most important piece of real estate in the world. And that's the ground beneath your feet. When you do that and you own that, you put that energy out into the world and it all begins. The transformation begins the second that you own the fact that you're going to make a change. So now you've said that. Now you've said, I'm going to make this change. I'm going to learn. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but if she can do it, I can do it. And I can tell you that's true, because you're not going to find a person who had a much lower self-esteem than I did. And you're not going to find somebody who liked themselves any less than I did. So I had my work cut out for me. I had really, really learned that I wasn't worth anything. I didn't think I deserved anything in this world. And I can tell you, if I can learn that, anybody can learn that. So here we are. I say to people all the time, tell me something that you like about yourselves. Tell me something that you think is good about you. And it's hard for people. It's hard. And I get that. Usually what I can get out of somebody is they'll say something like, well, I think I have pretty eyes. And I always agree with them. You do have pretty eyes. I think I have a nice smile. You have a gorgeous smile. But you know what? If you are going to base your happiness on your looks, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to find it. Why? Because something as temporary as looks are never going to bring you happiness. It's never, ever going to happen. John Mayer had a quote that he put out on Instagram last week or a couple weeks ago, and he said, if you're pretty, you're pretty. But to be beautiful, you must be loving. Otherwise, it's just congratulations about your face. And I loved it. I loved it. It's so true. Nothing about your happiness or your self-worth is wrapped up in how you look. We think that. We think that when we're not packaged the way the rest of the world thinks we should be, or even the way we wish we were, we think, I'm not enough. And as soon as I get this body and as soon as I look a certain way, then I'm going to be okay. And guess what? It doesn't happen that way. Believe me, I destroyed myself with self-destructive behaviors, with terrible mistakes and bad decisions. And if you can even stop yourself from that here because of my mistakes, then God love you, do it, because your happiness is not wrapped up in the weight you lose or the size you become. It isn't. You will forever be searching for it. So you look at yourself and you say, what about me can I possibly like? And so many people say to me, Kelly, I don't deserve to be happy. I'm not a good person. I've hurt people. I've made mistakes, and I don't deserve to be happy. God will never bless me. Let me tell you, you couldn't be further from the truth when you think that. Every one of us have made mistakes. My path is littered with mistakes. And you know what? The truth of it is, you can't change anything before this minute right now. You can't go back and change any mistake you've made. But what you can do is forgive yourself, because you deserve that. The only way you're going to be able to move forward and find your happiness is forgive yourself. You deserve to be forgiven. You forgive everybody else in your life. When a friend hurts you or does you wrong, when a lover hurts you, when your spouse hurts you, we forgive each other, but we never want to forgive ourselves. Trust me, I know nobody was ever going to beat me up any worse than I beat myself up. I would make mistakes. I had my shelf of denial. Then when things would go horribly wrong and people would say, "Girl, I told you," to myself, I'd be like, "You're an idiot. You knew better than that. You are the biggest fool in the world. You're a loser. It's no wonder you get this stuff, because you should have known, but you didn't because you're stupid." That's the kind of conversations I would have with myself. And those are the kind of thoughts that we have to begin to eliminate. And it starts with forgiving yourself. You're going to make that decision today, even if all you do tonight is lay in your bed and think, she might be onto something. And I'm going to begin to consider that I deserve more than this. That's what I'm going to begin to consider. No matter what I've been told, no matter what anyone has made you feel like, names you've been called, how you've been treated, I don't care. I'm here to tell you, you are beautiful. You are deserving. God didn't make any mistakes when he made you. He didn't make mistakes when he made any of us. We are all worthy of self-love and self-worth because our heart is beating. We deserve it. Every single one of us deserve that. The hard part is we have to fight for it. So we have to begin to list things. We have to begin to say, okay, I like this about me. Maybe the only thing you like about yourself is something small. Maybe you think it's minor. Maybe you say, I'm a loyal friend. That's not minor, by the way. It's actually rare. But you come up with the list of things you like. And I know you may say, there's nothing I like. I felt that way myself. I didn't think there was anything good about me. I put on a really good front. I had a great facade going. I had everybody thinking I had it all together, but I didn't. And so you have to make your list. You have to come up with some things you like. And if there's things about you that you want to change, that's okay. We all have them. If you want to become a friendlier person, or maybe become a little more outgoing or a little more self-confident, write the things you want to improve on. And then think of what you can do. One tiny thing you can do a day that helps you try to become a little more of that person. The biggest thing you're going to do is say, I deserve to love myself. I deserve and I am worthy of respect and being treated like the wonderful human being I am. So you start making your list. And maybe you don't have a big circle of friends. People tell me all the time, Kelly, I don't have any friends. Well, there was a time I didn't feel like I had any friends. My best friend Lori was far from me. I felt like I had lost everything and everybody. And I got a lot of support from people online. You can get so much support from people online. People who message me, I respond to every single message that I get. It may take me a while, but I respond to every message I get. Hopefully I can do that for a long time, but I do it now. When people reach out and tell me things, I respond. We all need to lift each other up and support each other. So you're in a group, a fabulous group. In my opinion, the best group on the internet, Bariatric Women's Support. There are over 50,000 members in this group. If you post and you reach out, you are going to get people who support you. And it's a fabulous thing to have. When I was going through all of this, When I was back in 2002, there wasn't all of this available online. There was online, but there wasn't the support that there is today. And so that's a resource you have to pull from. Hopefully you have some friends and some family you can lean on who can also help you. I can tell you it's not an easy journey. You have to develop steps that you do to stop the negative thoughts about yourself. I still have those thoughts. I still text my BFF Lori and say, oh, da, 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 da. These, and I think this and da, da, da. I still have those moments where some negative thoughts creep in, but I've learned how to reach out, how to say, okay, I'm having a bad day and I need some support. And that's something you have to be able to learn to do too. When I wrote the book, the quote before part one of the book is a quote by Helen Keller. And it says, let me think exactly how it is because I don't want to misquote Helen Keller. But it says close to, what I am looking for is not out there. It is in me. That quote spoke to me so deeply because we search and we search and we search for everything. And it's always right where it's always been, inside of us. And we have to be able to somehow lasso that in and pull it in for us and start our journey of learning to value ourselves. So as we do that, as we build our support, these are the things I did. I got every book I could get my hands on to read about self-worth and self-love and how to develop it. I journaled every day. I still journal every single day. I write down the things that I like and love about myself, always the things I want to work on and improve about myself, my hopes and my dreams. Our thoughts are so powerful. The most powerful tool you have in your backpack is your mind. It can work against you or it can work for you. And you have to retrain it. You have to begin to get it to start thinking positive. And that's not an easy thing to do. I had a very stubborn mind, but what I had to do, because I really wanted change. I think that's the key here. You have to really, really want to find it. So many people say, I want to change and I want to find my self-worth and I want to find my value. But a lot of people are okay with their misery. They're happy with their drama. They want to stay in that constant state of crisis. But if you really want that change, it is so amazing to walk that journey. I'm going to tell you, it's a beautiful place to get to, but it is not a perfect place. Life still happens. Things still hurt. We learn to love ourselves and like ourselves, but bad things still happen. Stressors still happen. And in those moments, it's so easy to backslide and say to yourself, this is your fault. If you this or if you that, you can't do that. In those really hard, dark moments, you still have to choose you. And when those dark thoughts come in, you have to be able to just look at yourself and be like, stop. I can tell you, even in stores, I have been like, what is my truth? What is my truth right now? And my truth is, I choose me. I want to learn to love me more. Those are the things I would tell myself. And when it would have been really easy and really comfortable to slide back into hating myself and blaming myself for everything, that was comfortable. It was familiar. And it would have been an easy thing to backslide into. I would make the choice, no, I am going to keep my eyes on my future and I'm going to push forward. And that is where it gets hard. You just have to mentally make the decision that when those thoughts come in, you have to sometimes speak it out loud and say, stop. What is your truth and what are you trying to accomplish? And push forward with it. It's a journey. It's just like losing the weight. We don't lose the weight and then it stops. This weight maintenance is something that we have to learn to deal with for the rest of our lives. It's the same thing with our self-worth and our self-love. We have to work on it every day of our lives. Our lives are going to throw different events and situations at us, and we have no control for that. But what we do have is the control of our thoughts and how we feel about ourselves. And we are so much more than anything that has ever been done to us, to anything that has ever happened to us. And we are worthy of all of the happiness that is out there. Maya Angelou has a quote, and I don't have it memorized word for word, but it's also in the book. And she says, we all love the beauty of the butterfly, but we never want to realize all the change that the butterfly went through to get there. I probably just butchered that quote, but that's the crux of it. And it's so true in our lives. People see someone who's gotten there. People see me, and I've been able to develop my self-worth. I've learned to like and slowly love myself, but the process was not an easy or a quick one. It took a lot of work, a lot of support groups, counseling, really digging deep inside myself and healing hurts and scars and horrific truths about my life, that when all of those things began to dissipate and didn't have their hold on me anymore, I was able to get to a place that I could find my self-worth and that I could find my ability to like myself and then love myself. It's not an overnight thing, but you don't fall in love with somebody overnight either. You don't meet somebody and say, love you, let's get married. No, you meet somebody and you like them, then you like them a little more, and slowly but surely you fall for them. It's the same way with ourselves. We slowly get to know ourselves. Of course, there might be things we want to change. We should want to change some things. We want to always grow. We want to be able to evolve and become better human beings. And that is the key to arriving at a place that you will be happy. It isn't a race. You're running, and if you look around, there's not going to be other runners, because there's no finish line. There's no finish line for you being happy. You have to get there on your own. You're running from yourself, and it's a race you can never win. My hope for all of it, for all of you, is that you will be able to realize that happiness is an inside job. You have to be the one to push for it. You have to be the one to slowly make steps. And the most crucial step you make is the decision to say, I'm going to begin my journey of self-discovery and self-love. It isn't, I can't give you a magic potion and boom, it's there. Because for every single person on the planet, it's a different journey. It's a different set of problems and emotional hurdles that we have to navigate. But I can promise you the feeling and the peace that comes when you begin to say, hey, I am worthy and I do deserve better. All those things that were put up on the shelf of denial, those things that had red flags, all of a sudden they become deal breakers in your life. And you're able to say, no, I deserve better. Thanks, I'll pass. Those are beautiful moments when you choose that strength. And it takes a lot of courage. Some people might say, I don't have any good traits. It's not true. If you're here and you're surviving life, then you are courageous and you are strong and you are a survivor. And you can 100% make this journey and become everything that you hope and want to be and everything you're meant to be. You have to choose happy. Choose you. Every single bit of you deserves it. You were beautiful then, you're beautiful now, and that beauty comes from deep inside of you. Don't let anybody else ever define your pretty or your self-worth. It just isn't going to ever let you arrive at a place of happiness if you put your worth in other people's hands. I think what you will discover is that person you've been looking for all this time, all the things you've been searching for, you're going to find out that it actually was inside you the entire time. It was in there for you. So I don't know if we have any questions. Let's see if we have any questions. Let's see what we have here. Crystal. Hi, Crystal Blackwell. Hi, Ashley and Cassie. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I'll sit here for a couple minutes in case somebody's typing one. But I just think it's so important for us all to realize that we deserve better than how we've been treated. And we definitely deserve better than how we've treated ourselves. One of my favorite Valentines this year was the one with me in front of the outhouse that said, love the shit out of yourself. You have to do it. You have to say, you know what? I'm okay. I'm perfectly okay. Not that there aren't things I can change, but there are absolutely wonderful things about me, and it is so okay to celebrate those things. So I don't really see any questions here. Oh, okay, let's see. Crystal said, what is the way you deal with negative people in your life, especially when they are family? Well, I think that in my book, I talk a lot about the fact that in this journey, there are going to be people who don't understand the transformation we make. There are going to be people who are jealous of the transformation we make. And some of them are going to be family. Depending on what the situation is with those people, when we change ourselves, it changes the entire relationship with every single person around us. So people become really comfortable with dealing with us when we were 391 pounds. And when we change that, or when we decide to change that, maybe we just make a decision to have surgery, whichever it is, they are going to have their opinions. And because we've always put a lot of weight in other people's opinions of us because we knew our opinion was so low, we take and we give them a lot of power in our lives that they probably don't deserve, even if they are our family. So when people are negative, part of your journey is getting the courage to say, I respect the decision I made for myself, and you may not approve of it and you may not agree with it, but my happiness isn't wrapped up in your acceptance of me. So, and I had some people in my family who were very negative about my surgery and my loss and all of the things that went along with it, people who didn't agree with some of the things I did. And it's hard because family means so much to us and we're around them on a regular basis. Sometimes it might be difficult to be able to confront the situation. And I'm not saying at all confront the situation. If you can talk to the person, talk to them, but many times that's not possible in these situations. So sometimes you just remove yourself from it. I don't mean that you remove yourself from your family and you isolate them. I just mean when that topic comes up and when they are negative about anything that has to do with you and your changes and your transformation, just choose to not give it any power in your life. Don't let it rank anywhere. There was one person in my family, absolutely, that they always had something to say. They always had something negative to say, and it was always aimed at me. And I just had to choose to not give it any weight in my life. I couldn't completely eradicate my life from this person's presence. So in the times when that stuff would come up, either I would quietly just remove myself from it and either leave and go home or go into another room or change it or whatever the situation is. You have to be able to develop the courage to say, some people are never going to be on your team. It doesn't matter Some people you can lay down to let them walk on you, and they'll say you're not flat enough. Sometimes what you do is never going to be good enough for people. One of my favorite authors, Steve Maraboli, says, haters will see you walk on water and say it's because you can't swim. So no matter what you do, some people aren't going to be happy about it. And it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. So sometimes you just have to be able to hit the mute button in your head. And if it's a situation that you want to remove yourself from it. But just refuse to give them any weight in your mind and any control over your emotions. And like I said, I know it's difficult when it's family, but them being upset with you has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And you can't change them. So you just have to change your own approach to them. And it just might be that anything they say, like, well, in one ear and out the other, and you don't give it weight. That's the important thing. You don't give it weight. And you decide what's worth being important in your life, if that makes sense. That would be my advice for dealing with family members who are negative, because I had a ton of them. Let's see. Don't let others affect your happiness, even family. Absolutely. So do we have any other questions or comments from anybody? If not, I will probably wrap this up. I hope that everybody who watches later, if you have questions or anything, just inbox me. I'm happy to answer them. And for the people who did show up and were here, I appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. And remember, it's not crazy to be your own Valentine. I'm my own Valentine, and nobody else is my Valentine. So, and I'm happy with it. I'm okay with it because I know I'm enough. So all of you are enough too. So I hope that you will learn to develop that. And like I said, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Every one of you are worth it. Every single one of you are worth it. And if you doubt it, keep listening to me say it and hear it over and over. You are so worth it. All right.